transitioned smoothly in his first camp with you guys that you thought maybe there might be some kind of a learning curve?
Right now, it's kind of the ins and outs of the fundamentals, where he needs to go on certain plays, blunt plays, knowing the pitchers, how they get off the mound, where he's actually positioned, a little bit deeper than he was in Japan, and adjusting to that. I think there's still going to be, we're trying to mimic and mock out game plan. We're having a hitters meeting tomorrow, before the game, like we would in the regular season, and kind of getting the language down and getting what is important to him, and in the right way. So there's still some things that we need to kind of cross off, if you will, before the season starts. But so far, he's been really, really quick to kind of pick everything up. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for him, for Yusuke, for Gosuke, for me, for Carlos, for Pop. And I think everyone's done their part. I think he's definitely done his part. And it's been pretty impressive to see him kind of slow the game down, if you will, a little bit. Even when it's a new pitcher coming in and kind of talking with Lou, talking with Pop, and saying, okay, what does this guy have? What am I going to do here? That's going to be the part that I think may take a little bit of time, but I think getting those situations down right now are important.
John, there's some differences in the way, from what you've heard from him or heard back from him, in the way that you guys maybe coach fundamentals here versus some of the fundamentals are coached or approached in Japan that you're kind of working through with him. Like, they may have said to you, do this, we do this way here.
Yeah, I think it's more so just kind of like the time in which we do it. I think he's used to a little bit more of a longer day in terms of the work and the amount of time you're at the field, really. But I think it's baseball, it's pretty easy. I found myself even a few times over explaining things to him, and he's kind of giving me like, yeah, I got you. So I don't think it's that different. I think just the number of hours of, at the field is a little bit different. So I'm anxious to see how the offensive part translate, and getting his feedback to specific things that he's looking for, specific things that are important for him to get ready.
Just different subject. Last year, you guys increased for the first time, got over 50% at bats with platoon advantage in a number of years. As you're looking at your roster this year, I'm wondering how you look at sort of get the specific handedness element of platoon advantage versus swing path and matching up swing path versus handedness.
A little bit of both. I think that going back a couple years, we kind of learned that, for the most part, it's pretty advantageous to get the handedness advantage. And then within that, I think last year we kind of dove into more swing pitch specific and how we can combat whatever is on the mound. And I mean, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of, we talked about cohesion a lot last year, not just with the players in the clubhouse, but the staff to the players, and Pop and Lou and Cody kind of identifying certain things to look for in certain pitchers, and then what our guys can or can't do, in those situations. So again, it's trying to still put guys in spots to where they can look at themselves. And there are a few guys that I think, guys that play almost every day that are pretty adjustable, multiple pitch types. And some of it is handedness, some of it is what the actual swing can do against certain pitch profiles too. So we'll continue to do that. Guys, they understand that's kind of how we operate, and there's also the human element that goes into it too. If a guy is working on something and getting better at something and obviously having success, that's where it's on me to kind of, trust my eyes and see what's going on and take that route as well.
That 3 of the 8 quarterfinalists at the WBC had Blue Jays people doing some element of their game planning.
Yeah.
What would you read into that in terms of what the type of job that you guys do, the quality of the information you guys are relaying?
I think that, again, I said it last year, I think, we had success, and I think we had success in taking advantage of opportunities to grasp good matchups and finding out and sifting through what is really important for players to hear. And I think that, I don't want to say it's a copycat league, but, I think that the proof is kind of in the product a little bit, to where we have a firm grasp on how to approach things. And that's a sought after commodity in this industry. So we're constantly trying to find ways to continue to make that better and evolve that. And I think we have the staff and players that are ready for that. I said that last year. I thought last year our players were really at a point to take in more information and understand the why, and then giving that to them just makes everyone be on the same page.
John, obviously the World Baseball Classic just concluded. What were you able to learn about your club with a lot of the players gone? And of course, now you have some of them back. So this is an opportunity where you had a chance to get your eyes on a few more guys. And of course, now you have the regular group back, including Vlad.
Yeah, it was nice to see some opportunity for other guys. You know, guys that jump out to me: Brandon Valenzuela, Josh Kasevich, Arjun Namala, Sean Keys, Riley Terada. I felt like we were writing their name in a lot. So I think it's good experience for them, and it's also nice to. I think it was a couple days ago where we kind of had our normal regular guys kind of in a lineup, and to see how they kind of feed off of each other. That's the kind of the thing that I'm looking for. Is I think our lineup is very. I know Pop says the word creative a lot. I think it's a lot of different skill sets that can beat you in a lot of different ways, and it's cool to watch them feed off of one another when an inning gets going. And I think that last year taught them kind of what the situation calls for, and that's what I'm looking at now. You know, it's again, it's spring training. You don't really care about the wins and loss, but just how the lineup operates as a whole. So the experiences were good for guys that got a little bit extra playing time, but I think the last couple of days we're kind of looking at how the guys really flow 1 through 9.
Last year, you had a chance to go ahead and taste the World Series. You're 1 out away. How much is your team going to build off of that? And let's talk about the loss of Bo Bichette. How much are you going to be able to get around that and work through that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think the experiences that we all went through, myself included, will only help us for this year when those high pressure, high leverage spots come up, and guys have navigated that, whether it's an at bat, whether it's a play, whether it's a bullpen guy coming in or a starter, navigating through a position, or a situation. Or decisions that I have to make with the staff too. So I think that's all great, and almost, being so close, I think leaves a little bit of a chip on our shoulder to hopefully finish the job or get a little bit closer to getting to where we want to get to. We were still one of the 29 that didn't do what we wanted to do. So I think all those things are going to, pay off for us this year at different times of the year. And in terms of Bo, again, I think what we learned last year is we're not relying on one guy. Our goal is to always out-team the other team and use everyone's skills appropriately to try to win that night. So we're not looking for Kaz, we're not looking for Addy, we're not looking for Varsh, or anyone to say, okay, you need to do X, Y, and Z to pick up production that Bo did, have last year. It's just how can you help us win and what is important right now? And my job is to find spots for them to do that, and then they just go play.
I just want to slip this last one in with Don Mattingly. How much did you learn from Don Mattingly the last couple of years? I know, obviously, he's a wealth of baseball information, and he makes everybody better around him.
Yeah, Donnie, he was my favorite player growing up as a kid, and to have him on the staff for 3 years was kind of a dream come true. And to have his knowledge, not just from a game management standpoint, I think from a hitting standpoint, strategy standpoint, was really cool. Something that I'll always kind of cherish and, consider him a lifelong friend and wish him the best in Philly, except when we're playing them. So I think that it was, kind of a little bit of back and forth too, with him being a little bit more old school. And I don't want to say I'm a new school guy, but I think him kind of learning how we do things here too, and then taking his experiences and blending it together was great.
Thank you, John.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Skip.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.